What's up, bleepity bloops?
In your ass.
See, bruh, no, you didn't wait 8 seconds.
I did.
Well,
No, you
we
didn't.
also have the intro music. So,
Sure.
intro music's like 7 seconds or 11 seconds.
In your motherfucking ass.
There we go. Just double down on it. Welcome to another episode of All Sorts of Sports.
Oh,
Why'd you bleepity bloop them then? You just might as well just go full send.
I'm liking it.
motherfuckers bleepity
Wanna
blue.
think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't question what I'm doing. I like what I'm doing.
I just think of like Betty Boo or whatever the fuck that cartoon was.
How about you get it right? What is her name?
Betty
Betty what? What's her name?
White.
That's the only one that matters. Betty White.
Betty Boop, asshole. Betty Boop. So yeah,
What did I
what's
say?
up, bleepity
I thought
bloops? Yeah, and then you had no confidence on the re-ask. So
I
fuck
ain't
off.
so
You get no
fucking-
credit. You get no credit. There's no credit there.
No.
All right, so
down the answer. That's what it is.
Here's where I'm going. What's up, bleepity bloops? And James, you fucking cocksucking piece of shit. That's what we're going.
We're not even 3 minutes in. This man assaulting me.
That's how we're doing it. Welcome
All right,
to another
Shannon.
episode of ASOS. It's 1:45. What, I'm Shannon Chart? Club Shay Shay?
No, I meant skip or whatever.
Nah, you got to write the first one.
Nah, you
So
skip.
on the
You skip.
episode 145, Law Sorts of Sports, just had the end of Super Wild Card Weekend, as Tony Romo would not.
It's not regular wild card weekend. It's super wild card weekend because it's so much better than regular wild card.
No,
weekend.
it's just stupid.
I'm Tony Romo.
I kind of like it. I like them putting Super on it. I have to admit.
Well, if they just
Only
called it,
reason
if they just called it the bowl, it wouldn't be cool. But they call it the Super Bowl, and you're like, now that's something I'm into.
Which
I
actually
understand.
that brings a question that brings up something that I think is not on the list, but I'm gonna add it when we get into football talk, which will always be majority of this episode.
Tecmo Bowl?
Huh? Tecmo Bowl? Oh, I did have a conversation about video games.
Look, I hate the fact how they had the games on Monday. I'm just gonna throw that out.
Well,
there.
way to stomp all over what it is I was gonna start the thing with, but
Well, I mean, I didn't know you were gonna say it, but all right, go ahead.
now I know that's why you just kind of let me do my thing. I'm hosting, fucking just start blurting out random things
Go
that
ahead.
I might have on the
Go
thing.
ahead, Skip. I won't interrupt your monologue.
How about you show up to the production meeting? Okay, how about you do that? Me and Ryan were
we
there.
have one?
Me and
motherfucker?
Ryan were there. We came and we had to develop an
30 minutes
entire.
late.
30
Ryan,
minutes.
Why
Motherfucker.
he was 30 minutes late. Me and
No.
you have sat down and we've
Hang on.
developed this entire
You were
list.
30 minutes
Shut
late.
up! I'm trying to help us both. We've been working hard for the last
Fucking liar.
hour, getting shit straight and
Stop
making sure
lying
that
to
we
the
had a
people.
prepared episode. Here comes James just waltzing in, just want to say whatever, and then he got all these criticisms and shit. It's not worthwhile. Okay, you
Stop
need to be a
lying to
team
the
player,
people.
sir. You need to
Stop
be a
lying to the
team
people.
player. Get a little
Don't
less
be a
Aaron
liar.
Rodgers in you and be a team player. Okay.
You know that's your man.
You're
Stop
lying this close to Black Monday. Shame.
Right. Come on, man. What we
Shame.
doing? And you lying on another black man. What's going on for real?
You
okay,
had
bro?
Rolexes at high school. You're out of touch. All right. We're gonna start off
So
on a
we
more
can't have
somber note.
money, motherfucker.
What?
We can't have
No.
money.
I'm just saying you don't understand my struggle, or our
Man,
struggle.
fuck your struggle.
you don't understand our struggle. Okay.
Hey, I know
Out
a
of
guy
touch.
who wrote a book about a struggle. I heard it was good.
Yeah, it's just out of touch, sir. Out of touch. Okay. That's all I'm saying. There's the struggle. There's the collector struggle, and here's you outside the struggle with your Rolexes
Bruh.
and Audis and all your shit. Okay.
Nobody
got it.
talks about the Rolex but you.
I know, like I said, we all have brands, okay? I might be more Skip Bayless, I'll admit that, than most people on the podcast, but you are out of touch. That is
Hey.
the way our brands work, okay?
Hey, K-Dot, there's a really good book written about a guy's struggle. If maybe you should read it at some point. I heard it's good.
Yes, it's of the German variety. I'm well
that's
aware of that.
That's a struggle.
Mine struggle.
Bruh.
Great book. Yeah. All right. Getting the smiles off because like we have started most of these episodes recently. Rest in peace. Georgia, terrible news the last few days. Rest in peace, Devin Willock and Chandler LaCroix. Devin Whitlock was, I believe, the offensive line for University of Georgia coming off their national championship. Both Devin and Chandler passed away in a car accident a few days ago. Just tragic news for people that young. with the rest of the lives ahead of them, and it's just extremely sad. Same way that there was the other basketball player, what was it, Darius Miles, that got arrested for capital murder in a drive-by that took the life of a young woman. There's just way too many. You look at the statistics just in America as far as like car accident deaths and fucking gun deaths amongst youth or people under a certain age.
I think it says like 2 per day on average so far this year.
It's
2 mass
tragic.
shootings. Mass shootings, by the way.
Yeah, the mass shooting thing. If we ever want to get into a conversation and maybe do another one of those Vegas episodes about just what's happening in society at large right now, it's troubling to say the least.
Yeah, if you read the obviously both are incredibly tragic. The car accident happening just a couple hours after they finished their celebration. The car accident itself looked nasty. I don't want to speculate as to what happened, but the fact that anybody walked away, because there were 2 other passengers in the car.
Yeah.
Anybody walked away from that accident is a miracle, but just terrible news. And the Darius Miles thing really fucked with me. Like, I get that he got benched, like he was going through it. My understanding is he wasn't actually the one who pulled the trigger, but as
they're saying, he provided the gun, which
is it's just sometimes I'm like, it's just kids being stupid and playing with guns, but just it's a lot the company you keep, and I really hope that he, on the other side of this, if he truly only just provided the gun, he's gonna spend some time, but I hope he comes out the other side trying to
rest in peace to the young lady who's not gonna be able to.
That's my main focus on that.
That is it's just so stupid, and he's from Washington D.C., so
at the end of the day, it's like none of his.
It's like I mean, this shit happens all the time in DC, and it's tragedy every day, and he's got the opportunity to, whatever. But yeah, both those events just suck. So
preventable death. It's a motherfucker. Yeah.
Really.
All right. So off of what, it feels like every episode was having to start on a somber note.
I feel like that could be for a long time in the future, just being honest with you.
I mean, there's a lot to that, right? Population increase, people getting older. There's a lot, because even we RIP Frank Thomas, the OG Met, who's Ryan's a Mets fan. That he lived a long, great life, with 93 years old when he passed. You'd hope we all get to that point, or at least get the opportunity to get to that point before you get people with a life snuffed out a quarter of the way there. It's just it's tragic as always. Just missed opportunity, potential, and life experience. Just not happening.
You should always get to the point where you're shitting your pants again, unless you're KDOT. In which case,
you want to get past that point.
You want to get past that point and then back to it.
I'm on the other side of it.
For now.
Thank God.
Blessed.
For now.
Again,
blessings abound.
50 years.
Yeah.
Well, not the way he's going. He'll just be depensing it up at like 50.
So another 20.
You got a good 20, man. But your water bill will go down, so that's nice. All right, moving on.
I was close. It's gonna be the same.
What?
No, you just wear Depends. You gotta wash your ass. Get a bidet. He's got a bidet. Everything's fine. It'll be fine.
No, it ain't.
It'll be fine.
I did buy this thing. It's actually sitting right next to me. You got a little neti pot syringe bullshit thing
for your ass.
I thought about it. It nozzle does look like it might be a nice thing to stick up there while I'm jerking it.
I have those. I have a Navage, which I fucking love.
So this is supposed to be everybody. The reviews on this thing is $12 on Amazon, and everybody said the Navage is a waste of money when you can do this. So I'm like,
I mean,
give it a shot before I get the other.
It is, but I like that I don't have to do anything, and it just does it itself.
Yeah, but now I gotta like boil fucking water. And
this you just put saline in, and you're gone.
Yeah, gotta figure that out. All right, so moving on. There is one topic that's not NFL related. I'm wondering if we want to get to that. Oh, yeah, the DeMar shirt.
Hey,
Got
Demar's out of the hospital. He's
He's
home.
out of the
I
hospital.
got a question, Ryan, in regards to that. Did you see what Leaf did?
No.
So Leaf put out put out a card. It
Oh,
said
boy.
prayers answered with Damar on it. You know, like news flash, those news flash cards they
That's
do.
kind of cool.
Yeah, they got his auto on some. They're selling it. Yeah. And
I mean,
he's like,
are they donating the proceeds?
not all of it. He
Oh.
said, like, yeah, we're doing a donation. And then all the comments under was like, why the hell are you doing this? Are you donating everything? And
Yeah,
he never
they
responded.
donated for all these that they
Yeah,
made. They
like that's
donated
cool.
100%.
Like if you do the cards and like you donate everything, that's fine. But Leaf has been doing a lot of shady shit.
Hey, maybe they'll turn over a new leaf.
And we
All
can
right,
hear
no.
more about card talk when y'all fucking start doing a goddamn episode about it. All right. Moving on.
Maybe
Before we
when
get
my
into
cards get here.
Hatred.
y'all keep saying that shit. It's been
Oh,
2 years.
Ryan, I just won a box of Select Baseball for $8.
I love that.
All right. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Moving on. Before we get into NFL news, did want to spend a little bit of time on the Ed Reed situation. That is just a little blurb. We talk about this for like 2 minutes and then move on
I
to
think
the
I
stuff we really
missed
care about.
this.
So the other night, Ed Reed posted a video complaining about, because we all know he just got the job, Bethune Cookman.
You didn't get the job yet.
Well, he didn't. Well, I guess the contract's not signed, but he's
Yeah.
agreed in principle with being the coach of Bethune Cookman.
I mean, he's there.
He is there.
He's working.
He was very upset about the lack of cleanliness of his office and other things around the campus, and proceeded to go off on a bit of a rant. I don't know if it was live or stories or whatever the fuck
That was live.
It was live. Yeah, as I've talked about on this pod numerous times, that if you're on Instagram some late nights, especially during the pandemic, it's extremely easy to talk to Ed Reed once he starts getting liquored up and smoking his cigars. Okay. And the thing is, he starts speaking a little too loosely. And he's that's the scenario. James, what do you think about the Ed Reed situation, especially after the heels of everybody talking about the HBCUs and Deion Sanders leaving and people having this whole conversation about selling out and this, that, and the other, and what HBCUs mean? What say you?
Well, the main discourse that I saw in like going against Ed Reed was people that were complaining the fact that he said anything. It came to like a just shut up and coach, which I'm like, that's an interesting way of going about it. Like to tell somebody. I get the whole thing with like you don't talk about family business to outsiders, right? I get that part. But a lot of things have changed. A lot of changes have come via public pressure. But the public has to actually care enough to put the pressure on. And I don't know if this is gonna work, but hopefully whatever he's doing makes it so something changes, because
I think a lot of it, one, they just had Ian come through like a couple months ago.
Yep.
They're still like places are still rebuilding. But two, and I just looked this up, the endowment for
Bethune Cookman?
Yeah, Bethune Cookman is
Bethune.
47 point Betty Boop University is 47.8 million dollars.
You said what?
It's 47.8 million is their endowment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means their budget is probably like 100 million for the whole school. Now, in contrast, just close by, the University of Miami, right? Their endowment is $1.4 billion. And their budget is $4.2 billion. So my assumption is that Ed Reed was basically like, hey, maybe he's not necessarily blaming the school. He's probably blaming them for not cleaning the office. That doesn't cost any money. But I think his point is, if you guys, the public, wants this kind of stuff to work, we're all ruin Ron when Ed Reed got this position, right? We need help. And this is how I'm going to show it to you. Now, I don't know if he went about it the right way. I don't know. I love Ed Reed, though. So I don't know if Ed Reed could have gone about it a different way. I think this is the only way Ed Reed could have gone about it. And you know what? I'll give him a lot of credit for doing it, because I would have had no idea. I would have never done that research. I would have never even looked into their facilities otherwise. But I did. And I'm like, yeah, it could be better, right? If you're bringing in a high profile guy like Ed Reed, this is kind of the stuff that, one, you should expect. And two, you're bringing him in to bring eyes and money to your program, and hopefully, you know, some better football years. So like, I think it's kind of it doesn't really matter unless it does him good, right? He's going to get some backlash, but you know who doesn't care? Ed Reed.
But the thing that I'll say about this, and then we can move on to the NFL, nothing good unless it's the first 2 months of verses happens on Instagram Live. You just don't do it. Like, if there's anything you probably do, Ed,
wait,
is
where does Drewski do his live stuff?
He ain't on Twitch that now.
Is that Twitch?
No, it's on Instagram Live.
It's on Instagram.
That's the greatest thing on Instagram Live. I don't even have an Instagram.
Understood, but the world in which Drewski's in is a little different than you're the head coach of anything. Okay, he thrives in that sort of atmosphere. Drewski is.
I thrive off negativity.
Drewski's in the Venn diagram for where Ed Reed should be to where Drewski is. There shouldn't be a lot of overlap. Drewski has overlap with fucking Blueface. Like that's the overlap.
Don't disrespect Drewski like that.
How many people do you think watch Blueface get cracked in the head with a bottle that also watch Drewski live? I'm sure there are a lot of people that did both things.
Blueface has made $1 million off OnlyFans this year.
750,000 apparently only.
Well, whatever. That's
why the fuck do y'all know that?
It was all over Twitter.
Oh, I'm not in.
It's end of the year. Everybody saw what their OnlyFans numbers. Bro.
I can't block any more Blueface stuff, and he still pops
those
up.
algorithms.
Iggy Azalea is not doing what she thought she was going to do. When OnlyFans going on.
Oh, she got one too.
Yeah, now she just dropped. Yeah, you're not on the. There's lots of news about OnlyFans. The one who broke all the records is Bad Baby, and she even admits, as everybody admits, there was a countdown until she was 18, and she's of the idea that everyone that signed up when she turned 18 should be in prison. And I understand her thought process. Although they made her really, 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 really rich.
Yeah, she broke OnlyFans.
Yeah, no, it's fucking OnlyFans, man.
Disgusting. What's her at so I can block it?
Bad Baby. It's only $9.
Right, go sit in the corner.
No, I'm sure.
What the hell is wrong with you?
She don't show enough. No, I'm sure.
All right, so this is the last part.
NFL Super Wild Card Weekend is now in the books. Let's start off with I'm gonna give James some credit. He definitely did better than any of us this week as far as the picks went.
Mr. Oh, it starts at 0.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. He's still behind me. But overall for the season,
started at 0, motherfuckers.
Yeah, you've got your own standing on a notepad. I get it. Okay. But the only game you got wrong was the Chargers game. So bravo to you as far as picking.
Which he had right wonderful. For 59 minutes and 55 seconds.
But I said that I always say that shit's gonna happen because there's some voodoo shit going on in Jacksonville. Anytime a team goes there, like it's not an easy place to play for some reason.
Did you guys see the guy who played the national anthem?
No.
Some redneck with a guitar.
Oh, I think I did see some.
Almost Jacksonville shit I have ever seen. When they say Florida man, he's from Jacksonville. I'm sure of that.
I also stand firm in this, and we'll spend some time. We're going to break down some of these games, at least certain aspects that happen in the game. Let's just start with the Chargers Jaguars game. I will give credit to one thing more than any other thing. I think Jacksonville is one of the worst fucking cities in the country. I think Florida is one of the worst places on the earth. I will say a top 3 Waffle House experience for me was in Jacksonville, and I appreciate Trevor Lawrence taking the boys out to Waffle House after a good win. Great move. There's nothing more great Americana than Waffle House, and I am with the Waffle House employees. Keep that TikTok waffle fucking sandwich away from the Waffle House employees. They do enough, and you don't need to be asking them to do all the special shit so you can start flexing on the TikTok.
Yeah,
It's
they
bullshit.
already don't want to be there. Just
They were
leave them
like,
alone.
"Oh yeah, it's $20." I was like, "So who the fuck is that stopping?" Like, I don't give a shit if it's 20. Give me 8 of them.
Also, I think the second most American shit ever was that he went to Waffle House, took the entire team, and then tweeted, "Glory to God." That is if he went out and shot a Beretta into the air, he would have had the trifecta of Americanism. I don't know if he did that, but I'm just in my heart of hearts, I kind of hope he did.
I hope he didn't, because those bullets come down.
Okay, then went out and shot a possum. Then it would be the most American shit ever.
All right.
To
fair.
eat at Waffle House. They cooked it right there.
Yeah. They that was the new TikTok special.
But,
Possum on a waffle.
Well,
While
you better
we're- while
hope he
tr-
didn't fuck up nobody parlay.
So regardless, that the game right there, I think a lot of people is looking at the positivity coming out of that game is the resilience of a Trevor Lawrence. He throws 4 picks in the first half, comes back, still stays in it.
First 4 possessions.
For 4 possessions, throws 4 picks.
Right.
Right.
I had an interception counter going for like 5 to 10 minutes. I was like, he might break records. I don't know.
But then comes right back and throws 4 touchdown passes to get them right back in the game. So I think while everybody, and they should give a ton of credit to Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence for what it is he did, I think majority of people in the way the conversation went after the game was the collapse of the LA Chargers. Now, in the aftermath of that, everybody was calling for Brandon Staley's head. I mean, you
gotta go.
Well, you lose after having a 30 point lead, and then after you have that, you also have the week before you keep your starters in. Mike Williams gets hurt. I think everybody's of a pretty good idea that if Mike Williams starts that game, the Chargers probably win it.
No, they don't. You run the ball in the second half. He could have taken a knee on every snap and probably still won that game. But they threw the fucking ball and gave Jacksonville all the time in the world. Eckler had like 2 runs in the second half.
They can't run the ball.
It doesn't matter.
That's the thing.
It's the clock, clock starts running.
It does matter.
It literally took them to within the last 3 seconds to take the lead. If you would run the ball consistently, they wouldn't have had enough time to come back 27.
Austin Eckler has 35 yards and 13 carries in that game.
Yes, that's not enough carries.
I
agree.
not enough yards.
But they don't have enough yards either.
Right.
It would have been 3 and out.
out there. They did that. They did that the whole second half.
And
They
they
scored
still
3
couldn't do
fucking
it.
points.
Look, while Brandon Staley looked to be the guy whose head was going to roll, it doesn't look like he's going anywhere. But what they did do was fire a guy that I think should have been canned quite some time ago. Great guy, but I've talked about it here on the podcast. What I thought about Joe Lombardi and that Chargers offense.
You want to run 5-yard routes? Let's run 5-yard routes.
It's usually 7 to 10, and they all turn around, and the separation is about 1.5 yards between receivers. It's some of the worst shit. The thing that's most frustrating about the Chargers, right? I've talked about how much I love Justin Herbert's arm, and I think he can make any throw that any NFL quarterback needs to make. But the thing with that is that majority of the success they have on offense all season usually happens on third down when things break down and he's got to play off schedule.
And Mike Williams does this running down the field,
so
and
that
he hits him on a dime.
Which is why I'm saying Mike Williams is so important in that game. Right? That's the thing.
He still has Keenan Allen. So like both of them on the field.
I get it, but I get it. But
Mike Williams is hurt, by the way.
Yeah.
His back.
So he's gonna be out for a while.
He needs a backiotomy.
But I think Joe Lombardi leaving is huge for them. The Brandon Staley thing, the more unforgivable than this loss to me was the Michael Williams thing that happened the week before. And I think the combination of the two, I completely understand wanting to get rid of him. I actually think that would be overall bad for the Chargers of losing Brandon Staley because I actually think he's a good mind. It's just if you're going to be the defensive-minded coach,
move him
and
to
you're the guy,
get him a new coach.
Then you need an offensive coordinator that can kind of run the show and have good concepts for a good young quarterback, and that's not what Joe Lombardi had.
Who could they bring in? Maybe someone who might be available soon that they can overpay. I know a guy maybe in Kansas City. It's crazy. Take over the offense, let Staley do the defense. It's crazy. It's crazy that someone might be available to do these kind of things. Will they get him? Probably not. Fucking cunts. Makes me angry. Dude, I love Justin Herbert so much. And to watch that happen, and I like Chargers fans, you're used to it. I like it's the day is coming though, where you get through to the next step. But man, like
I ain't seen him.
They have to make some wholesale changes because that can't happen. Like the whole game, I was just screaming at the TV.
Bro, look, listen. I feel like since the start of fucking time, we've been saying with the Chargers that can't happen. Like K-Dot, who did you say was the best team of all time in your opinion? What happened to them?
What team?
Yeah, what happened to them?
They had the worst special teams in the history of the league.
And what they have the best of?
Offense and defense were both ranked number 1.
And what happened to them? Did they
didn't make the playoffs?
Like the Chargers are going Charger.
I'm
so happy that they have Staley there because he's just finding ways to lose. When you have Herbert, he finds ways to lose, bro. When you have Herbert, like this is the window. Like Herbert's rookie contract, in my opinion, I always think that you have a better shot for Super Bowls like in the rookie window, rookie QB window, and I feel like he's wasting it.
I mean, Herbert is going to be in Washington in like a year.
I don't know about that. I'm just saying, like, the thing I'm going to push back on with the Chargers thing is that while I do understand people wanting to give them the brand of being these chokers or whatever it is, I'll take what the Chargers usually get compared to what most teams in the league get, which is usually sustained success and you're making the playoffs, which is more than most organizations could say. So, like, to say that it's sort of some grand indictment that they're huge choke artists or anything else, to me, isn't necessarily the truth. Because, like, I can't even call them necessarily choke artists in the sense of they're a team. Like, you look at those 2000s Eagles teams that made the NFC Championship games, and it would break down the final moments was they're right there on the cusp. You look at those Buffalo Bills teams from the late 80s and early 90s.
I was about to say the Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls, so I don't want to fucking hear it.
Like, that's different. That to me is choking, right? But if I'm looking at the Chargers and saying you have multiple quarterbacks over generations, they're always there, and they just haven't been able to get over the hump. But the thing is with the Chargers is that they're at least always in the conversation, which to me is something that most franchises can't necessarily say. And that to me is a success overall.
Conversation of what?
I'm pretty sure Phil Rivers pumped a lot. What are we talking about?
Like, how many times is your, like, I speak as a Commanders fan. Since the 99, I can count on one hand the amount of times my team has made the playoffs. I can also say that we have one playoff victory in that entire time span. So, like, I look at that and I see what the Chargers have done over that exact same time period. Would I change trajectory? Yeah, I'd love what the Chargers had more than what it is that I've had. I don't know if do you feel the same way as a Raiders fan?
Fuck the Chargers.
Exactly. So, like, there's that element of it. I don't think that. Yeah, you meet teams that are better, and I think that that's what the Chargers usually run into. Is there a team that's better? Do I think the Jaguars are clearly better than them? No, not necessarily. But
also, I think we need to also give Doug Peterson all of the flowers and respect, because remember when he was in Philadelphia and they won the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback, and then he went to Jacksonville and they were in last place last year, and then this year they won a game in the playoffs. That man's a coaching, just a renaissance of coaching for whatever team he goes and coaches for. And obviously he's big with his quarterbacks, big with his players, because even Doug was like, guys, don't give up. We're going to win this. Sure enough, they fucking did. And it's that kind of, like, what's Coach K say? It's not going to come to me. But, like, just positive reinforcement instead of, like, trying to throw out the playbook and, like, shut everything down. It's like, no, just keep doing the thing that we do, right? Just do it better. And look, that team was fucking god awful last year. And that's kind of why I hated on them for a lot of this year. But they are a very resilient team, decent defense. And I think T-Law is proving that he was worth the pick in the draft.
The money they spent is well worth it.
Yeah, they don't make money.
Well, the thing is, you look at the Jaguars overall since their inception, right? They had a mini run early on when it came to Tom Coughlin, those early teams with Mark Brunell, Jimmy Smith, Fred Taylor.
Was Mark
Early
Brunell the last
Fred.
quarterback to win a
was
playoff game?
it
for the
McCardell was there early? I think.
It was McCardell?
Yeah.
He was there.
So they had that, and then they go through a period of like they had some teams every once in a while that looked okay, and then they had that defense that looked great a few years ago, and then Urban Meyer came, and we all know what a train wreck that was, and now you got Doug Peterson. They're like they hired Tom Coughlin again to run things, and he ran him to the ground to a certain degree before they hired Urban Meyer, and now they got a guy who needed to right the ship. What they did is they found the guy that needed to be the guy that's the leader of that organization and to get them on the right track. That's something that they needed since the very beginning. And I'm glad that Shad Khan, I give him a lot of credit for being a fairly good owner in the sense of he'll acknowledge when something didn't work. He tries his hardest to get things to work, and he's done it different ways. I give him a lot of credit, and they've done it the right way. So congrats to Jacksonville, even though I think it ends this week. All right, other games that went down. San Francisco beat the shit out of former MVP candidate Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks.
It was close for
Hey,
a while.
it was close until halftime.
And then San Francisco did San Francisco shit, pulled away. We won't really talk about that one that much. Also,
shout out though to former MVP
Yeah.
candidate. I would be very shocked if after this season and that god awful defense, they don't sign him.
That's what I was about to ask you.
He is going to be the he's going to be the long term.
Yeah.
I mean, he broke all their fucking records this year. Like he broke the records that the guy he replaced as the backup set for that franchise. And year one took him to the playoffs with a team who was last in rush defense and like, I don't know, bottom half in pass defense, like just bad. So he was keeping them in the game. So
I also don't think Geno's can ask for the world in that contract.
That's what I'm about to ask you. Like,
so to work out.
What do you think? Will he be like top 5?
No.
Top 10?
No.
Absolutely not.
4 years, 110 million, something like that. Option. He's like a $25 million a year quarterback. He's not a $40 million a year quarterback, but he's.
You think he would take 25?
I think
all he cares about is being the starting quarterback at this point. You know how much money he made to be a backup? More than we'll ever see.
You think he would take 25?
I do.
I don't think so.
Just stay on the Seahawks? I do.
I think he might try to get at least 35.
Okay, 30. But we're still talking the difference between like 100 and 120 million.
I think what you're looking at with Geno Smith is somewhere in the 33 to 35 mark. You're looking at something that Jared Goff has in Detroit, and I think that that's okay to pay for Geno Smith at this particular point. Because I put him on that level after this year and seeing him, right?
All right, that makes sense, right? But
yeah.
Hear me out. So with the salary cap moving, right? QBs always want to set the bar a little bit higher, right? So he might be.
It's an aggressive market for quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, he might be the golf range like for his play, and like if he was signed right now, but looking ahead, he's probably going to ask for a tad bit more.
And then you'd say no. So the thing with, because like at the end of the day, if they're going to drive up prices, I think what Geno's looking for more than anything at this particular point in his career, and knowing how his career has gone, which is he's had horrifically bad luck, is knowing that what he should be doing is kind of what Jared Goff was looking for, is the guaranteed dollars. So to me, it's a lot less about what it is you're making per year or even the length of the contract as much as how much of that is guaranteed. And I think what Seattle has done is, look, everybody on the outside looking into Seattle this season had Seattle doing nothing because we all thought Drew Lock was going to be the quarterback. But if you actually listen to anything that was happening in Seattle in the locker room, that thought didn't even cross their minds. They all knew that they were going to go with Geno. So it seems to me as though it's a guy that they actually trust, and they will offer and extend that contract. And I think that he will do right to stay there, because I don't look at a lot of other situations around the league. They're going to be as beneficial to him as far as how many years now he's been in that system and knowing the guys that he has there and has a fan base that rides with them. And they also, they have after getting Russell Wilson, they have what's their draft pick? Number 5 this season. going into the draft. They have draft capital. They have money. They can make things happen and are going to be able to put him in a really interesting spot. I think it just works out for both of those guys. But I understand if Gino wants to chase the money, there will probably be a contract that's better out there for him.
If Stroud was out there.
He's got a rookie running back too. So they're in I think he knows he's in a good spot to win. And I think that matters more.
Right.
To Geno Smith at this point, right? Because he's been in the league, 45 years. It just matters more to him at this point to get the wins under his belt, because now he's finally proven himself to be a starting quarterback.
So what was the
in
problem?
a good spot.
What was the problem for the team
this year?
Defense.
Yeah.
Terrible defense.
Okay.
I mean, nobody like that. That was clear from the get-go. They were last in rushing defense. Well, them and Green Bay were going back and forth as to you be worse. No, you be worse. But I mean, and they came up against the rushing powerhouse of the league in the playoffs.
They can also throw on you.
And held up. Well, now that they have Brock Purdy. But they held up against them for a half, right? And then just, the Niners made adjustments at halftime, and then CMC and why am I blanking on his name? The greatest player.
Debo, Ayuk.
Debo.
Kittle.
And then Debo, you don't know what he's going to do. So
I have a question then. So does anybody know their cap number?
No, but I don't want to spend too much time on this because we got other games we got to go through.
Let's move on. Geno Smith.
If Stroud is there,
future
possibly
MVP candidate, Geno Smith. Catch me in a year.
Cool. All right, other games that went down. Miami and Buffalo. What a hell of a long fucking game. Jesus Christ. 3 hours and 53 minutes, I think was the final time. It took fucking forever. They kept throwing the goddamn ball and people kept dropping the goddamn football that made the game just last ungodly amounts of time. As Mike McDaniel smoking weed through his vape on the sideline.
No, it was definitely a marker. Definitely a jewel.
It was a marker.
No, it looked like a jewel.
It was clearly a marker.
Look, let's do the same thing. Really,
if you look at the camera, you can see that he's blowing into his hand because he's cold.
I know. So a lot of turnovers. The first two were not Josh Allen's fault in the hands, the receivers. They went woo. Cole Beasley made up for it with a touchdown. The fumble was Devin Singletary forgetting. What's that thing you're supposed to do if it's a pass play and you're the running back and you're in protection? You're supposed to block. He forgot to do that. Josh Allen trusts his guy, so when he turned around, there was a 300-pound lineman in his face, and he forgot to tuck the ball. The game would have been that close if it weren't for those 3 turnovers. He squeaked it out. But if you see a team 3 times in a season, right, you're gonna have a scheme. They're always gonna be close. So I'm not super worried about it. Just moving on to next week. So
all right,
DeMar's gonna be in the building next week. Fuck out of here.
That's gonna be fun. I think everybody's kind of semi-rooting for the Bills at least a little bit in their hearts. Next up, Giants Vikings. The Giants and Brian Dable, they pull it out, getting the win against Minnesota, which I don't know if anybody has gotten the opportunity to read it, but it's a hell of an article that The Ringer put together this last week where they went through all of the wins for the Vikings and whether or not how much luck played into it compared to are they good or are they bad. And the best thing about it is that if you actually look at luck based on like where the ball bounces when it comes to a fumble, miscues by other teams, or the things like happen, the Vikings actually aren't the luckiest team in the NFL. There was one team that was luckier than the Vikings this year, and it just so happens to be the team that just beat them in the playoffs, which is the New York Giants, which is dope as shit when you kind of look at it. But a big win by New York. I get to flex a little bit in the sense the NFC East is being fucking dominant, even though Washington's at home. We're getting rid of Dan Snyder. I won my Super Bowl. I don't give a fuck about anything else. The NFC East is just making us look good. But I think the big question was the big game by Vanilla Vic there and Daniel Jones and Saquon. Look, the Giants with Brian Dable are just rolling, and they're not out of the playoffs just yet. But I think the main thing I want to talk about Everybody knows Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson. I don't really spend any much time on them. But what I do want to ask.
Hold on. Because they're ass. Continue.
If you're the Giants, are you bringing back Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley?
You are paying them both lots of money. Lots of money. And here's why. We've seen it with Justin Fields and Desmond Ridder and I keep on to say Malik Willis. You can get these guys in, right? But it takes a couple years to really get them going, right? Justin Fields had like one of the best rushing years and passing years like combined for a rookie or a quarterback of all time.
For his life.
But he's running for his life. You have something.
He never did that at Ohio State.
You have something that's working in New York, and you have Brian Dable, right? You don't like. You're gonna have to pay somebody. You don't want to blow something up that is finally working. And when they inevitably make it to the NFC Championship, there's gonna be no question. It's so hard to contain them right now. Like Daniel Jones had 100 yards rushing. He doesn't look like he should have 100 yards anything. And he's throwing the ball. He's thrown his receivers open. Saquon's running like his life depends on it because it kind of does. And that team's playing really good. I hope Thibodeau's okay. Even though, did he deserve it? Maybe. But I hope he's okay. But you can't blow up a team that's that good that we thought was going to be the most dysfunctional piece of shit mess at the beginning of the season, right? Pay them whatever they want. Oh, we'll pay one, franchise the other, right? Or if you get far enough and you're like, yeah, this is a team we want to have for the next couple of years, pay them whatever they want.
James?
What was the question? Because Ryan went on for a long time.
Money.
Do you pay Jones and Saquon?
They don't value running backs as they used to. So I don't know. I mean, from a player side, like, yeah, I would say, yeah, like, of course they deserve it. But
From an organizational standpoint,
you would probably franchise Daniel Jones, and then franchise Saquon and then pay Daniel Jones, right? But I don't know. The point I would use would be Josh Allen, right? Because Dabo was with Josh Allen, right?
He was.
And you remember how bad Josh Allen looked in like the beginning. He just needed time and a number one wide receiver. So if you pay Daniel Jones now and then he turns into like a Josh Allen year, then you're in the money. But you also got other people to pay, right? It doesn't Leonard Williams is on that team, right?
Mm-hmm.
D lineman? Yeah. Isn't he coming up for a contract or is he already paid?
Not sure yet. But they have some pieces that they're gonna have to pay on that defense regardless.
Yeah. And I mean the money for a QB will be higher than the money for a running back. So I don't know.
I think you could just look, and this New York is big on their running backs, first of all, for some reason, the Giants. But if you have the benefit of coming off a better than expected season, a playoff run season, is that you're more likely to be able to convince players so that you can structure their contracts such that they inevitably get paid, but they can keep everybody there, right? Because if you say to someone, you're going to get $100 million, but we're going to have to pay you 30 next year and 10 or 30 in 2 years and 10 next year. So we can keep this squad around you so we can make this run again. You're more likely to get a head nod. Yes. Right. And they're actually putting themselves in a position where that's possible because nobody thought that they would be here. So I don't know what their cap is or like how they're going to have to, spend money. But like even was it Julian Love, their quarterback? I think he's got one more year. Like they have some pieces that they're not going to have to pay. Thibodeau's a rookie. or second year. He's a rookie.
Rookie.
So they got some pieces they're not going to have to pay. They can probably stay under salary cap and sign everyone they need. And I think they have a couple good draft picks this year. So like, I'd say sign both of them. I don't want to spend any more time on it, but just in my heart of hearts, I hate the Giants, but when they're good, it's good for football. And I don't want them to break up because Saquon's been injured for the last 3 years. Like it's the first time we've actually seen him play. So I don't want that to be taken from the league at this juncture.
I just want to quickly add that as you guys have known, I've always been a Daniel Jones guy. I'm a Daniel Jones guy, like the guy.
I love Daniel Jones.
Now I will say this. I don't believe in the term reverse racism. It's a figment of your imagination. But what I will say is the closest I've ever seen to reverse racism is the fact Vanilla Vic. And here's why I'm saying this. On a run pass option, if you're Micah Parsons, right? And you see Daniel Jones with the football in his hand, and you're seeing whether or not he's going to hand it to Saquon or keep it. 9.9 times out of 10, you're going to look at Daniel Jones as just a goofy motherfucker, and you're just going to go after Saquon. I don't blame anybody for doing it, but it's tricking people because they're still, to some degree, on defense. They never go after Jones because he doesn't look like he should be able to do it, and it's working in its benefit. Whatever they do, make sure the running back continues to be black because they need to make sure that any defender that lines up and looks needs to be able to say, all right, he's clearly not going to keep the ball. And then when you go and make the wrong move, you look and he's 20 yards down for you, like, wow, that's just weird.
Have you ever seen those videos of like the skinny ass gazelle, like just ducking and dodging out of a line? The line's like, what the fuck?
He's Eli Manning that can run. He's a goofy mother. He's the Forrest Gump. He is now every year in football, there's a Forrest Gump. Eli Manning was Forrest Gump for a while. You had Joe Flacco had a little bit of gump in him. Romo had a little bit of gump in him. There is this element of by just going with the flow and allowing opportunities to arise, it just works out. And that's Daniel Jones has that little bit of magic about him that does that sort of shit. And I appreciate it, and I think it's undervalued in the NFL. All right, next up, Baltimore, it's Cincinnati. Cincinnati puts away the Ravens. Now, in the aftermath and the lead up to that game, there's a lot of controversy surrounding the offense of the Baltimore Ravens. Some decisions that got made in that game, including the oh so great fucking quarterback sneak from 1.5 yards out that you leap and try to bounce over and it gets returned. Mark Andrews, hell of an effort play, bud. And that was a block in the back that deserved to be called, and it didn't get called. And I felt bad for how much running you had to do for it to end the way.
No reason.
For no fucking reason. But in the aftermath of this game, while Cincinnati won a game I think everybody expected them to win, especially with Lamar not being in the game, the conversation now really turns into what's going on as far as the offense there for Baltimore. J.K. Dobbins has comments after the game that he wishes he had saw the rock more. We've heard Keem on the podcast talk about Greg Roman and what's going on as far as the offensive woes there in Baltimore. And then there's also Lamar Jackson, the contract situation. And you had some players, Sammy Watkins, you fucking bitch, that came out and was saying shit beforehand, wanting him to play. Mike Vick also wanting Lamar Jackson to put himself at risk and play. I think RG3 with the only real measured response there to it, speaking on experience. But what's happening in Baltimore? What's next? If it's either one of you and you are the decision makers in Baltimore, what's happening with the offensive coordinator? What's happening with the head coach? And what's happening with Lamar Jackson? James, I'm going to start with you.
They gone.
All of them, including Lamar?
No, keep them. Well, I mean, look, if you look at it, this is the Ravens' fault, right? You tailor your offense around him, but you don't put any weapons there outside of Mark Andrews in case he's not there, right? This has been going on for years. Keem has been saying it. I've seen it. Like, you think about the best receivers that they had there, they haven't had like a true number one that was like one of the top 3 in the league or top 5 in the
never
league.
Homegrown anyway.
Yeah. I can't draft receivers. Keem said that before too. I don't like the discourse that's surrounding Lamar, especially like starting like starting the week in terms of like, oh, he's not playing because he wants his contract, not the fact that he has a grade 2 sprain
PCL.
of his PCL, which is a significant injury, and people are short-sighted saying like, yeah, these other QBs played with that injury. And I was like, motherfucker, they don't run. They sit in the pocket. They're not Lamar Jackson. They don't need to make those quick movements that he does.
I mean, RG3 summed it up best by posting that picture of this is what happens when you just put a brace on it.
Yeah.
Your career ends.
So
that is seared in my brain. I'll never forget that. He
Dude,
turns
did you
around and
see
just goes,
him sitting next to oh my god, my brain is so fried after today. Alex Smith, they were sitting next to each other before the Bucks game, and I was like, hey, they both lost their legs for Washington.
Come on, bro.
So Washington rite of passage. Joe Theismann.
But yeah, so I hate the
I don't think it was
discourse.
his thigh. I think it was his lower leg, but whatever. We'll
I don't like how the Ravens fans are discussing Lamar, and at this point, I want him to leave, but I know the Ravens org isn't going to allow that to happen. They're going to franchise him. They might trade him, but probably not. And
I don't think he wants to leave though.
I think he just wants to be appreciated, and he doesn't feel that he's being appreciated from the org. He is by his teammates, of course. You see some of the stuff that they've been saying in regards to Lamar and his deal and everything like that. Like they love him. Sammy Watkins was there for just a cup of coffee. He's not important.
Nice piece of
Sammy Watkins can suck a dick.
Didn't he also say some shit about like between Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes or something? Like, I don't need to listen to anything he says except for how to run routes.
Sammy Watkins is what we like to call irrelevant.
Yeah, but I think it's just time for Lamar to test the waters, you know?
But when I phrase the question, so if you're the Ravens, are you trying to re-sign Lamar?
Yeah, I am.
All right, Ryan.
The top 4, top 5 quarterback? Yeah. They don't come around that often. You're not going to get another one like anytime soon.
And you got to change up everything.
You don't really have to change that much. Oh, if you got a new quarterback. Yeah. With Lamar, you can put him in with a bunch of toddlers and he'd probably get you 13 points a game. He would kick the field goals. They need a change at offensive coordinator. I don't think that anybody is. I think we all know that. They may need to change at head coach. I know that's tough because he's kind of grandfathered in, but you need changes. You need changes. The one thing that should be there all the time for the next 12 to 13 years should be Lamar Jackson. And that,
stay healthy enough.
Well, I mean, one, they could stop relying on him. They could relying on him only with his legs. They could get him a receiver, just like one. They could get him an offensive line, and they could get him better coaching where they scheme so that he's not getting absolutely clobbered all the time. That would be cool. They could, I don't know, run schemes such that his knees aren't getting targeted. They could have the defense get off the field quicker so that they can just run the ball and not rely exclusively on Lamar Jackson to come back and score more points.
The ball though to do that.
Yeah, don't you? And that was one of the dumbest play calls I've ever seen because if he had Dobbins submarining under that line was a touchdown. But who am I, right? Just a guy who likes football.
I will say that as far as the Ravens, I think right now, especially after seeing this injury itself take place, I can understand reservations as far. Once again, I blame more than anyone else for the Lamar Jackson contract situation, Jimmy Haslam, in Cleveland for what it is that he did with Deshaun Watson, which everybody, from a player's perspective, bravo, Jimmy. From the league perspective, team perspective, what you're trying to do as far as building a roster perspective, he fucked over a lot of people with that guaranteed money that he gave to Deshaun. If I'm Lamar Jackson, there's under no circumstances whatsoever will I ever suit up if they franchise tag me. Being the way that, as you said, Ryan, They've had ample years to put together a team in these things for Lamar. They've not done those things. Even when it comes to James, what you said as far as the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, what Keem has been talking about with Greg Roman. I've always been of the philosophy that regardless of Greg Roman's offense or not, they haven't had enough talent at wide receiver, which is one thing. But if it is Greg Roman, which is the situation, which a lot of Raven fans will say, how many years have you had that situation continue where you've had Lamar kind of floundering in an offense that's inefficient? And if that's the case, if I'm Lamar, do I have faith that these guys are going to be able to put together the team that I need in order to succeed when they've had ample opportunity to do so? If the franchise tag is what it is with Lamar and the style of play in a system in which you both have talked about, they rely on him on a level at which he can get injured. I do not take that risk with my career unless it's for a long-term contract and a lot of that money is fucking guaranteed. But that's just me.
So just my 2 cents. If Tua retires for medical reasons this offseason, which he very well may, if I'm Lamar,
Miami would be amazing.
Really, really staring down Miami.
Yep.
That would be the only, for me, that's the only other place that would make sense.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I will say, Lamar, directly to you, bud, if you ever watch this, hire a fucking agent. I really do think it'll help you out. I understand the wanting not to, and I applaud you for doing the things that you do. It's a lot easier to get these things done with an agent. Just point that out. All right, last game that has happened over Super Wildcard Weekend. Yesterday was the Dallas Cowboys at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, fuck the Cowboys. Now, in what could have been Tom Brady's last game, he did try to mount a bit of a comeback there at the end.
A fucking chance.
No, I don't think so either. But
he will get children's ligaments infused into his body so that he doesn't have to retire on that.
Now, there are a lot of thoughts about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know that there's a rumor right now. I don't know if it's happened exactly that Byron Leftwich is going to get access as far as offensive coordinator. Is it done, or is it still rumored to be happening?
I thought it was done.
If you could confirm it. I heard that there was conversations that it was supposed to happen. I actually think overall, I've said this on the pod even before, they miss Bruce Arians. I think leaving Tom Brady unchecked as far as what he's doing on the offense is not necessarily a great idea.
Something is wrong.
Beyond that, as far as Todd Bowles is a great guy, great coach, but I think he's a much better coordinator than he is a head coach. I think he just gets lost in the sauce when he's being a head coach. Outside of that, Byron Leftwich, rough run of it this year, bud. And if they scapegoating you for all of it, I understand to some degree, but I also think that it's fairly unfair. Did you find out?
It is still rumored. There's nothing official yet.
I doubt it happens. I don't think that, but I do think that they need some changes happening. And if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm ready to move on from the Tom Brady thing and to start building the team another way.
So what I would
do, Jameis Winston reunion this offseason.
What I would do immediately. Is he still under contract?
Not after this year.
Okay. No. Well, if you look at Vegas thinks he's going to the Raiders. That could just be because it's Vegas. But the odds makers,
they've had deals in place before.
The odds makers have plus 250 stays in Tampa, plus 300 that he's a Raider. I would not be shocked. What I would do is draft any number of the plethora of quarterbacks coming this year, and then fix your fucking line. Leonard Fournette is an absolute unit, and he's getting 30 yards a game because he has to hit the lineman out of the way to get to the linebacker, which he also hits out of the way. And then he only gets 4 yards because 4 other linebackers then tackle him. If he got a hole, he'd be unstoppable.
They are just old, though.
Well, yeah.
Fucking old.
And if you look at the offensive schemes, like none of them help Tom all year. Yesterday, he looked fucking lost because he was. Because as soon as he got the ball, there was some gigantic man in his face and he had nowhere to go because they weren't scheming. So like, I realize Byron's going to get a little bit scapegoated, but I think some of it is you have to adjust during the season. And you just didn't see that adjustment. Like one game, it goes great and he has 4 touchdowns, right? And you're like, oh, let's stick with this. And then well, then it didn't work for, I don't know, 10 of the other games this season. So there's a lot of shit that's got to get fixed in Tampa. I don't think Tom's the guy to do it because that guy's not changing. Not for you, not for me, not for his wife, not for his kids. So I think you just got to move on. I think Byron ends up somewhere else where he's probably a better fit. You know how hard it must be to coach Tom? Fuck that. I won't want that job anyway.
It's tough. That's why it's sort of a thankless job. But if I'm Tom, New England reunion, baby, make it fucking happen.
No, because I don't think.
Make it fucking happen. Gronk, get your ass back. All right. Let's move on to picks for.
Wait, do you think he misses that Super Bowl thing, the kick, and then immediately says, "I miss it because I'm coming back to the Patriots with Tom Brady."
Kind of dope. All right. Now, the only reason I haven't talked about the team, the bigger story, I think, out of Tampa Bay is the Dallas Cowboys, but we'll talk about them as we make these picks right here, saving them for last because they had probably the most overall dominant performance of the first week of the. But yeah, and James, I know you stepped on this earlier. Monday Night Football in the playoffs is a terrible, unfair, and stupid thing to do.
But it's on Black Monday. Everybody was off.
Moving on to the picks for the divisional week. I know it's not super divisional,
but it was a holiday. It was a federal holiday.
They don't care about the players.
Doesn't matter. Any team that plays on Monday night is playing at with one less day to rest before the fucking next week. It's ridiculous.
Hold on, it's Dallas.
I'm not saying I get it, but I'm not crying for them. Dallas. But I'm just saying in general, it's not necessarily the best thing to do. It's not a good precedent to set.
It's just going to be Dallas is the only team.
Saturday and Sunday action in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We're going to start with the first game Saturday at 4:30 p.m. The Jacksonville Jaguars go on over to Arrowhead playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Who you got? Let's start with James.
This game is not Jacksonville. Going with the Chiefs.
Ryan?
It's cold in Kansas City.
Chiefs as well. Too much experience. And I think Trevor Lawrence, great first playoff game, sir. As far as resilience, and this is where it ends. Building blocks. Saturday, 8:15 p.m. NFC East matchup for the ages. The New York Football Giants come down the New Jersey Turnpike and go to Philadelphia. Who you got? Ryan, start off.
First off, this should have been the 4:30 game because you're really going to let Philadelphia fans drink for 12 straight hours before this game starts? Are you out of your fucking mind, NFL? Jesus, think of the children. Man, I always hate teams coming off bye weeks, and these games I think are going to be close. But fuck, Jalen Hurts he's just Michael Vick. He's not Vanilla Vick. He's just Vick. So I'm taking the Eagles.
I want to pick the Giants. So
I know in my heart, I'm like, I want to pick them, and then I remember every game I watched Jalen Hurts win, which was almost all of them this year. So
yeah. Spoiler alert: I'm picking all the home teams, and I know that's not what's going to happen. So this is one of those games in which, because of the NFL playoffs and anything can happen in the playoffs, this feels like one of those games that I really want to pick the Giants. I just can't. And I know I've talked about it previously as far as like, I don't trust Jalen Hurts necessarily in the playoffs, but also don't trust Daniel Jones necessarily in the playoffs, even with the game that he just had. Give me the Eagles at home. I think that stadium's going to be fucking on fire.
No, literally.
Yeah, probably literally. I can't wait for this game just as an NFC East battle. Fuck both of these teams, really. But I can't say that I'm not going to be putting a bunch of money on a lot of parlays.
At least the NFC East is guaranteed to make it into the next round.
It's pretty dope. It's pretty fucking dope. James?
I have the Eagles, but I do believe it will be close just because it's a divisional game.
Yeah.
But the fact that we all think it's going to be close means there's probably going to be a blowout.
Very possible. NFL playoffs is what happens, right? And anytime that there's a consensus that gets built, the other thing happens. Cincinnati at Buffalo, probably the game of the week. We're looking at just from an excitement level and previous matchups, things like that. We'll end with Ryan on that one, but I'm gonna, like I said, picking a home team for all these games. Although I love Cincinnati, I just think Buffalo. Yeah, this is another one that I actually could see going either way. I really could. I think Joe Burrow in that offense can really put it up. I think Josh Allen, I'm still always afraid of his hero ball tactics, especially when it comes to playoff time. But just give me the Bills at home is really the reason I'm picking them. James?
I could see the Bengals winning this. I really can.
Do you see Skylar Thompson throwing all over the Bills last week? Imagine what Joe Burrow could do. It's crazy.
And for that reason, is why I'm picking the Bills. They need a wake up call. That was probably it.
All right, Ryan?
All right, next game.
No, I want to hear him say. You got to say it.
Go Bills.
All right, and then the finale.
Also, I'm wearing Bills. You can't see it, but I'm wearing Bills pants too.
Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Super Bowl time. Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers. I'll start San Francisco 49ers. I will say this. The Cowboys put together an overall performance I thought was impossible for them because they're the Cowboys and I'm waiting for them to do Cowboys shit. Now, it was shown to me that based on the pattern of wins and losses of the Cowboys over the course of the season, they're supposed to be on a 4-game win streak now. And starting last week, which would mean they're winning the Super Bowl. And if that's the case, I want to shoot myself. I think Tampa Bay was old and tired. Chris Godwin looked really hurt the entire fucking game. He was hurt the entire fucking game. Mike Evans couldn't get on the same page. That's got what I do think about the San Francisco 49ers is they are clicking on all fucking cylinders. But the same way I thought about when it came to that Tampa Bay game, the key to this game is Micah Parsons and what he does to Brock Purdy. But give me the offensive line for San Francisco, getting it done. Christian McCaffrey, please, Lord baby Jesus, beat these goddamn Cowboys. Ryan, who you got?
I think that this will be Brock Purdy's first real test. And as much as I love him, as much as I hate the Cowboys, I watched some of the passes last week. Brock Purdy's very good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's getting eaten alive. I take the Cowboys by 3.
James.
I take the Cowboys by a lot. Here's why. I've been watching some film on Purdy, starting with our matchup against him, where like he did some good things, but our defense is ass, right? So there's
the defense he played last week, ass.
Yeah. The Cowboys defense isn't that bad. But a lot of the stuff that I've seen is him missing throws, but still being completed, right?
Yes, because his receivers are redonkulous.
Yeah, and I don't think you can do that with the corners that the Cowboys have, right? Just because they gamble. So yeah, that defensive line is scary. Brock Purdy can run, but he's not faster than Parsons. I don't think
he might be.
No,
Purdy's quick.
No, he'll never be faster than Parsons.
Okay. You're the same people who are in the Daniel Jones can't run camp.
You people? That's what we do. No.
Yes, you people.
look, okay, now you see this? No, but
what were you? How dare you classifying you as a hater of white people running in the league?
You can run, you ain't gonna get far.
He's not trying to get far. First down's only 10 yards away.
He's not getting 3.
Look, I think what ends up happening is Dallas is going to scheme to stop the run, and you're going to have to beat their corners and their safety.
And he's not going to be able to do it.
I think he can do it, and I think he does do it because he's still got Kittle. Let's not forget Kittle's on that team. But I think what ends up happening is a lot of those balls that were being completed where Kittle was making ridiculous catches. I think I know the one you're talking about, where he threw to the wrong side of the shoulder and Kittle still caught it, even though it should.
I'm not even talking about Kittle, but that is another one.
Ayuk can still run, but they're going to have a much better defense guarding these people. And I think they're going to have to rely on the run. And I think that Dallas's offense is explosive enough that they end up coming out on top. I mean, but it could go the other way. Like,
so you guys both picking the Cowboys?
Yes. Like the 49ers defense is great, right? But we saw what Stidham did against them. Like we had like 500
never
yards.
even heard of a Stidham.
They've seen him, but
to me, this
500 yards.
To me, this game ends up being. I've talked about what I've seen Kyle Shanahan do over the course of the season. When it comes to what he's done, is actually doubled down on, unlike what we've seen in the past when it comes to San Francisco 49ers and doing things more vertically. I think what you might see this game is a reversion back to what the San Francisco 49ers typically are known for branding wise, and that can work out in their benefit. Short passes, quick, get the ball out of Purdy's hands and let your playmakers work. What I will say is this: in open space, Diggs, ball hawk, do all that kind of shit. I've seen him get run over. I've seen Mike Evans look like he shoulder checked him 6 yards in this last game. If you can I don't think this is a big Kittle game. I stay away from him in all parlays and everything because he's going to be needed to block and to help on whatever side Michael Parsons is on. And what ends up happening is you're going to have a lot of McCaffrey out screens, McCaffrey out in the flat, Debo getting the ball real quick. And if anything, you're going to see a few shots with Ayuk. But I think this is one of those games where high volume to Debo, high volume to Christian McCaffrey. I don't even see Elijah Mitchell necessarily getting that many carries. I think it's a big time, get the ball out quick sort of game. And if that's the case, then they can do that and get Micah Parsons frustrated and on gets it just almost getting there, but not quite getting there. I think they got a shot. I just think there's no better overall team in the NFL than San Francisco 49ers. And I'm rolling with them. But as you guys say, if you got a pass rush and you could score quickly, you could do anything to anybody in the playoffs.
No, but I agree with what you're saying in regards to the game plan of the Niners, right?
Yeah.
Getting the ball out quick, right? But if Diggs and all them boys are gambling and jumping routes, that's pick sixes.
I can understand the thought process there, right? But the way that in which you're looking at as far as like even a lot of slants, a lot of things, and I get Diggs wanting to make those, could do that. What I have seen Purdy do, at least in the short game, has been pretty good placement. On his deep ball, he takes certain shots that I'm surprised by. But in the shots to me are like what you see with Washington when we take shots to Terry McLaurin and they make the great adjustment, come down with the ball anyway, which is what's been so impressive with Ayuk this season to me. Luck's been in Purdy's favor on a lot of the deep throws. And a lot of the deep throws that he has had have been guys that have been wide the fuck open in breakdowns and coverage.
He does have a fucking cannon.
He has a cannon for a fucking arm. And so all I'm saying is, like, I look at Purdy. He hasn't lost a game yet. The San Francisco 49ers are on that hot streak. Now I get you can look through some of those games that they played and be like, all right, well, who'd they beat? But look, I remember what Dallas was before this Tampa Bay game, which is Washington beat the everlasting shit out of them boys, and they had stuff to play for. And I really don't think the Cowboys are as good as that performance was in Tampa Bay. I don't.
I mean, I don't count the game like against y'all just because it's like divisional. Like that shit's personal.
I think that they're so clearly a better team than we were that there was something wrong. And I think that if there's any get right game, Tampa Bay and what it is they were doing, they looked outclassed yesterday. And it wasn't necessary. It just didn't look like they came to play. Tom didn't even look like he gave a fuck until they were down by 20.
I mean, they're under 500. Like,
dude,
right?
He didn't throw a single Microsoft Surface.
So I'm saying is like, and if you look at the way that game even breaks down against, because that the matchup that the Cowboys had against Tampa Bay, is it? I look at like some of the stats. So let me pull this up real quick. So rushing yards, Ezekiel Elliott 13 carries for 27 yards. to me is glaring. It's glaring to me. Ezekiel Elliott, through the course of the season, especially as things went down, were looking like he was getting better with the carries, right? And then against Washington, he didn't really have a great game. And against the Tampa Bay defense, he didn't really have a great game.
Yeah, but what did Tony do?
Tony did 15 for 77. Totally understood. Great
He's
stats.
He's a better running back.
I won't deny that either. But what I'm saying is that, like, if I'm looking at what it is that I think San Francisco does against the run, I don't see Pollard having anywhere near as much success. And I think whatever we saw Zeke do against Tampa Bay only gets worse. So to me, if that's a situation where Dak Prescott has to sit back there and make those throws, right? The defensive line, the offensive line for Dallas, as far for the pass rush, this game against Tampa Bay, 10 out of 10. Bosa's a different element. That defensive line for San Francisco is a different fucking element, and it ain't going to be as simple. And to me, if the case is that I gotta trust Dak Prescott to throw, he had an amazing game against Tampa Bay. This is also a guy that missed how many games and still led the league in interceptions. I don't think Dallas is as good as that game. That's all I'm saying.
Wait.
I think that, once again, pass rush and quick touchdowns can keep anybody in anything. It can make you blow out anybody, right? So anything can happen in the NFL playoffs.
The Chargers.
Well, the good thing is, I think the majority of the offensive linemen for Dallas are white, so it's not like Bosa could just start screaming racist stuff and like get him off kilter.
And with that final thoughts, who'd like to start? I'll start. I finally watched a movie that I was looking forward to watching.
Andor? Garbage.
Fuck you. So I'm a Michael Bay fan. I'm an unapologetic Michael Bay fan, in the sense of Michael Bay is what happens if you gave a 14-year-old $100 million to make movies, which there's a part of me that'll always appreciate that there's a man that exists for that. I finally watched Ambulance, the movie that he has with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. Don't.
I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear me. My screen froze up a little bit. What'd you say, Ryan?
You liked Ambulance?
All right, so Ambulance. I watched it with my girlfriend. Now, while I will admit, being high as a fucking kite and watching Jake Gyllenhaal collect a paycheck and just have fun was fun. It is the dumbest heist I have ever seen in my life. It makes no sense whatsoever. People are getting shot for reasons I don't understand. Michael Bay really wanted to show off that he had a drone camera.
And he just blew shit up for no reason the whole movie.
14-year-old with $100 million.
It took us about 3 hours to get through the movie because we kept pausing and talking about how stupid what it is they were doing, which made it great. And afterwards, I turned to my girlfriend and I said, I need to watch the first 30 minutes of Heat to cleanse my palate. And she said, okay. So I did. And Heat, still amazing, and it makes sense. Unlike Ambulance, which is still the dumbest bank robbery plot that has ever existed in a movie.
Dude, but I watched that movie and I
found the best part about the movie. Wale.
Also, Wale. Why? Were you that desperate to be in a movie?
$100 million.
I wonder how much he got paid for that. Because, like,
$7.
He's a dumbass in the movie.
None of it made sense.
Like, if they had to remind him to stop spray painting the windshield at one point, it's like, is he brain damaged?
Dude, that movie was so bad when it was done. I called my buddy Doug and I said, dude, I don't care how bored you are. Do not watch Ambulance.
Oh, no, I'm going to watch it again. I had fun.
God damn.
Right. I will say this. Michael Bay, there's a movie he made before this one that I actually think is an instant classic as much as it's shitty. If you have not seen the movie Six Underground, do yourself a favor.
It is. I have rewatched the movie. Underground is fantastic because there's a plot that you can follow.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Fun characters. Yeah, really but hey, look.
Ryan Reynolds has
said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm not gay, but for Ryan Reynolds, I would learn. I will watch everything he's in and love it because he's one of, like, one of my favorite actors. His brand of comedy, it's like Kevin Hart. Either you like it or you don't. But when you like it, his brand of comedy to me is hilarious. Just super dry comedy. And I like action movies. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And
All
he's
right, who's
like,
next?
I'll go next. I'm really glad the Mando is coming back because Andor was horrid. And I understand that some people may like Andor, but it may be because they haven't watched Mandalorian in a while. And I'm very glad season 3 is coming out so that the Rotten Tomatoes on Andor can start falling once they realize that Mandalorian is a better plot, better character development, better subject material, etc. And
don't feed the trolls. Go ahead, James.
Gotta pay the troll toll.
I just love every time when Ryan wants to piss you off, he just says Andor's ass, and you just
because here's the thing.
No. It is.
Here's what I know. He hasn't finished Andor.
I can't get through it. That's how bad it is.
And number 2, the same way that he's, I know for a fact he's a Commanders fan, is the same way I don't have to worry about. Like I know what he is in his heart.
Here's the
thing. I know he would love Andor if he actually watched it.
You say that,
it's
and
okay.
You're the only one that believes it. There are millions of people out there who have tried to start Andor and have failed. And that's why Bob Iger had to come back because it was such a trash show. Moving on.
See, he actually dropped names that he knows that I know really well. So he's really trying to get under my skin. It's not working. I know where his heart is.
Are you sure?
No, I know where he's at. I know where his heart is.
All right. My final thought is this. We had El Clasico this past weekend. Barca beat Real Madrid, beat the living
shit out of them.
It was love.
It was a molestation.
I got old vibes.
Oh, Pedri scored, Gavi scored. You must have had a fun time.
It's amore. Bro. It's not love, it's amore. Because Classico is a pasta sauce. When the moon
whatever. I had so much fun. And I think I watched that game like two times. I might watch it again later tonight while I'm working.
I watched it with Erwin, who's a Madrid fan. He was
sad. Tell Erwin I said hi.
I'll tell him from you.
Oh, I was talking to so many Real Madrid fans. It was love. So much fun. But yeah, as they say, Barca's back. And fuck you, Atletico. Like the hell y'all doing? Did you hear about that?
No.
So Memphis Depay wants to leave, right? Like the winter, which is fine. And the only option right now is Atletico. And we're like, all right, well, give us Carrasco. And Carrasco's like, yeah, I want to go to Barcelona. And they're like,
nah.
We're gonna get Memphis, and we're not gonna pay a dime, and we're not gonna swap deal. And I'm like,
that sounds about right.
That's not how that goes.
Well,
we set a price.
You have to be top of the league like Arsenal to really start,
we are top of the league.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
But by how many points?
Enough.
Damn it.
Yeah.
More than 7?
Yeah.
Damn.
No.
Although we were supposed to get Murdoch, and he's like, "Nah, I'm going to Chelsea."
Well, no, I don't think he wanted to go. Chelsea just came in and no, he wanted to go to Arsenal, but Chelsea just came in and was like, "Yo, 100 mil, here you go." And Arsenal's like, "Damn,
that must have been."
Got that.
All right, he's muted too, so now it's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what he likes to do.
K-Dot.
He wants to take the attention to himself because
go watch Andor if you want some attention. God, that's creeping me out. All right, I love you all. I gotta go.
No, don't feed it to the trollness. No, let's talk about soccer.
Can I stop his video? I can.
Oh, no, it's still recording.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Oh, it's so much better.
Why is he gonna say fuck it and leave?
No, I'm done with soccer. It's also 9:30. It's past my bedtime.
Oh shit! I gotta get back.
Jesus. What is wrong with you?
All right, wait. Are we watching the games together this weekend or no? It's fine if not.
I'm down. Just let me know.
Okay,
I'm home.
What?
You want to watch the games all together?
Maybe. I don't know. I got to figure out my schedule.
All right. Let us know. Change your camera. Like, what the fuck is you doing?
Fine.
This is an Andor shot. Just fucking trash.
Oh, no wonder we don't like the shit.
It's the red light special.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Leaky mud butt.